Good morning. It is Saturday, 8 a.m., and we're here to have a conversation. That conversation is with Meitreya over at Keto Geek. She's a very lovely person. I've had the pleasure of having lunch with her, hanging out with her multiple times, multiple cities. Let's go ahead and bring her on and we'll talk to her and see what's going on. Welcome, welcome, Meitreya. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, good morning. Got all my coffee ready. It's almost like Sunday night coffee talk, only it's Saturday morning.
All bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, yeah?
So I'm sure it'll be people will join, but yeah, that was the enthusiasm. But so we'll give everybody a few minutes. But I see that Cindy and Lynette, I pull it up on my phone because I haven't learned enough how to see the chat here on my laptop. So, but it's nice because then I can see everything. We've got Jen and Shelly. Good morning, awesome people. You guys, badasses, being up bright and early on Saturday morning.
Oh, it's wonderful. All these great people being here. It warms my heart that we've got, because Cindy is a person that is very close to me. I was telling her last night in her live that she's kind of like a bonus mom to me. She's been so sweet and kind to me. And I
Yeah.
don't really know if I know Lynette we may have met. I'm pretty sure we have. And I apologize for that if, if I meet somebody and I don't remember right away. But I know I see her in lots of chats, and I speak to her, and I know, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I've been getting to know Lynette through a lot of the keto channels, but also I met her at Keto Palooza, and I just have to say the community support and the personal emotional support and the inspiration from Lynette is phenomenal. And we share some other hobbies in common, so it's one of those nice things to have someone who understands the words you're saying when they come out of your mouth. So. But
yeah, that's so. I mean, that's the most important piece of this. Yeah. And Jen Delaney is here. Thank you so much, dear, for being here. I appreciate you very much. And she's asking if we did get snow here. So we woke up and there was snow. Chandra had to drive to work, and she took the truck or the SUV because it was in the garage and wasn't covered in snow. Wasn't a lot of snow, but it was that real dense, wet snow, especially like kind of the first one of the season. People were going to drive like loonies. So,
of course, even though they've lived there their entire lives, the first snow or rain of the season, and everybody loses their minds. And I'm sorry, I have to say, during this pandemic, the quality of driving has gone downhill so bad. it's like
it has.
It's
but
terrible.
I mean, I don't drive as much as I used to. So Shelly's here. Thank you, Shelly. I remember meeting you at Keto Palooza. And Lynette, I do apologize. I do remember that. Yes, you said we had lunch together at Keto Palooza. Okay. Yeah, I do apologize about that. I remember that. Karen Burton is here. Good morning from Cincinnati.
Hey, Karen.
John Gugahan is here. Awesome. And Sharon Holloway is here. Now, I just kind of wanted to touch base with the chat a little bit, but I did want to get into kind of your background, kind of what led you or what guided you to living a ketogenic lifestyle, kind of like a high level. I imagine that there was some,
Oh no, it's good. We like to joke, and I often say like, well, it's the hard lesson to learn. My body's a temple, ancient and crumbling, possibly cursed. I started out in 2013, and at that point in time, my quality of life was really, really poor. I had a glioblastoma, and there wasn't really a good way to treat it because of the location. Glioblastoma is a tumor in the brain, and we were making all of the preparations, the end of life things, which I know is not a subject a lot of people like to talk about, but that's where we were. We were making those plans, and a study completed at the John Cancer Center here in Ohio through funding for Pelotonia, which, hence so part of my bike riding love now. But a study completed, and I had already told my doctor I was done. I was tired of chemo. I was tired of feeling like garbage. I was tired. I was just ready. And they were like, listen, we just finished this. You're actually a great candidate. Do it. And I hemmed and hawed, but we talked to the whole family, and we all ultimately agreed. I had surgery. The surgery resulted in, I had 3 strokes. And then post-surgery, it didn't go well because then I developed seizures. And the medication for the seizures wasn't enough. They were continuing to worsen. And that led to was my neurologist, recommending trying a ketogenic food plan. And I was really not in favor. Told people at home, I was like, I'm not doing that. I cannot live like that. It's ridiculous. It's too restrictive. It'll never work. And rarely does the foot get put down in my household against me. But the foot went down. They're like, no, absolutely. You're not just going to kill yourself to eat some fucking cinnamon buns. Sorry.
No worries, dear.
They're like, no, absolutely not. You're doing this. And let me tell you, I was not a nice person for a little bit while we made that transition. But did the seizures stop? No. But did they start decreasing? Yes. And side benefit was I started losing a bunch of weight. I always tell people that I don't talk about weight loss because weight loss was really literally what it was intended with the ketogenic, not a goal, but it just sort of happened. The miracle was the seizures slowing down and stopping and getting some clarity of mind. And in addition to that, other things started getting better too. My rheumatoid arthritis flares were lessening, and not that they don't happen, but they weren't as severe. So I became a really big fan and proponent of the ketogenic food plan and going, this is miraculous. We'd start doing the research. I'm a big nerd, so diving into the science was tremendous. And I mean, my eyes were open. So that's the crux of it. I'm currently now seizure-free. I've been seizure-free for many, many years now. It's a miracle. Also, glioblastomas almost always come back. It's not if they come back, it's when, and mine has not. In fact, they cannot even detect it anymore on the MRI. So miraculous, living beyond my expiration date because I've cut back carbs, essentially. So that's it. We'll talk about more because I've gone on a bit. I think we could look and see if people have questions or comments, although it looks more like a lot of hellos back and forth.
Right. So that's very impressive. So when you talk about ketogenic lifestyle, or like you getting into this, not with weight loss in mind, that's different from a lot of the people in our community. And even for myself, weight loss was one of the prime reasons that I started, but it's not why I stay.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for a lot of people to hear, because not everybody comes to a ketogenic lifestyle because of weight loss. And even when I was researching what low carb was, trying to find recipes to mix things up in the beginning, when we were starting low carb, before we even knew the word keto, I was coming across a lot of ketogenic recipes. This is early 2016. So a couple years after you had started, and I kept running across a website that was focused on epilepsy in children and recipes that would sustain their ketogenic way of life, because they have to be far more strict than the average keto person does. They have to look at ingredients far more closely than someone like myself. Now, I do look at ingredients, but then I will make concessions and go, well, I don't really mind this too much in this instance, or that here, or that kind of thing, where I will have things that are probably not the most keto or whatever, right? Or they don't have the best ingredients. Like, I ordered some magnesium tablets from Amazon, and I hindsight's always 2020, but and I've been doing this for 8 years. I should have looked at the ingredients of the magnesium tablets to see that they had rice flour in them. I'm like, so I guess I'm going to be waiting to take those till after my fast is done, but here we are.
Yeah, that's the other thing that has been tremendous is that, of course, being gluten-free and having a celiac diagnosis before all of that, when stuff wasn't popular, I didn't take good care of myself because, well, dying anyways. But the ketogenic lifestyle has definitely been better for like gluten-free, and I'm a weirdo, 100%. My body, I'm also one of those like 2% of the populace allergic to rice, which is in everything. So
yeah, especially when you're dealing with the gluten-free line of things, everything's made with rice.
Right. So.
And Jen said something here. I just wanted to bring that up. It's very true. You got a bonus life. And
yeah.
She and I are both very thankful for that. Because of that, I get a chance to have got a chance to meet you. We've had a chance to hang out in multiple cities, and my own Louisville, Columbus, and we've had a chance to sort of get to know each other.
It's cold, so forgive me.
Oh, 100. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Yeah, it's cold. We keep our house. We bumped our house up to 67. It was at 65, and I was like, I think we're going to bump it down to 66 because there's a weird thing where our bedroom is cold or it's hot. Like it gets too hot and we get uncomfortable in the middle of the night. Downstairs, frozen, wasteland. Bedroom, scalding hot. If we have it like 1 degree too hot. It's and it's above the garage. You would think that the heat the cold from the garage would come up and keep our room cold, but it doesn't for some strange reason. But anyway, weird diatribe aside, Lynette says that she admires you so very much for so many reasons, and I agree.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a very nice compliments.
And she says that her son has epilepsy along with several other issues. He eats a high-fat, mostly meat keto diet like you, and I believe it helps with the seizures.
It's been a really tremendous change. That's the best, and I think that Lynette here has said the important thing there: high fat. If you have a condition like a seizure disorder, whether it be epilepsy or like mine, which is not an epilepsy, but they call it foul epilepsy because it's the same kind of seizures, but not from the same cause. But the high fat is actually really critical. If you start lowering your fat and getting just mostly protein, which is easy to do, especially if you're eating carnivore, you're going to actually cause a detriment because your brain is relying on that fat as the fuel to control some of those the electrical impulses that cause the seizures.
It's very interesting because all these years we've been told that fat is the enemy. Fat, you need a low fat, low fat, low fat. And I mean, I know we were, you're just a touch older than me, but we're relatively in the same ballpark. And all of that, like mid 80s, Snackwells, all that stuff came through, and it was like low fat, no fat. We even lived through the old lean era and all that stuff where they were trying to provide, all these fats that weren't body soluble, but they just went right through you. If you know
lean kills me. Every time I think about that, I'm like, yeah, then we have these delicious, not so delicious potato chips and shit my pants because that would be fantastic because I won't be fat.
That's like I have. Well, so Chandra likes the Albany sugar-free gummy bears.
I love those Amazon reviews.
Oh, they're amazing. If you're ever bored at night and you don't have a weak stomach, read the Amazon reviews for the 5-pound bulk bag of sugar-free gummy bears. I don't necessarily know if they're the Albanese brand or whatever, but they're so detailed. But she knows that she can have 5. She has 6 gummy bears. She's up all night. 5 gummy bears. She's cool. And I bought those for her. And I won't, you can buy them at the grocery store still, like at Walmart, the little bags. And I'll buy those for her sometimes. I won't touch them because the problem is they taste like regular gummy bears.
Right.
And I just want to shove them all in. And then I'm okay. I don't touch. She eats those and she'll eat the Russell Stover's candies, and she knows that she can have like 1 or 2 and she's okay. We did a review one time of those, and I had like the smallest little nibble, and I was like, it impacted me real bad. And I'm like, I'm just okay. I know how, anyway, yeah.
No, that's fine. You know what? This kind of conversations we have.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I want to have these natural, awesome conversations. This right here, this is something that I think I'll pester you about this. And then there's the title of your book, Living Beyond My Expiration Date. Because I think right now, and I know people have a lot of things with, they're like upset or they're afraid of AI and stuff. I just took an AI course this week. A friend of mine was hosting this AI course with ChatGPT, and it's ultra beginner's course. And just basically how to utilize like the prompts and asking it. Basically, you just learn to talk to it like a person, and then it can come up with all these cool things. And I think, it would be helpful, like, in like a book writing. If like for someone like me, like the idea of writing a book seems like I'd probably be able to climb Mount Everest backwards and upside down first. But I just think like maybe with like that kind of thing, it could help. And then you could just basically like turn it into like a plug and play. Like it gives you the book template, and then you just go, this is my life, this is my story, this is what happened, and all that stuff. And I think your story is one that I think that would be extremely impactful and would be very well received as an actual book. It doesn't necessarily have to be super long, but I think it'd be something to at least entertain.
It seems like a book. Like I should write one. My doctorate actually is in literature, and so it seems like that. But honestly, I don't know what it is. I've thought about it several times, and the words don't happen. And because primarily when I do write, the kind of things that I write are poetry and first-person character narratives, but apparently not true, only fictional, crazy stuff. So like I have all kinds of little one-off short stories, a couple that I've published in like the Alfred Hitchcock magazine, things like that. But I sit down and I do this and I write a paragraph and I throw it away and write it and throw it away and write it. And I'm like, okay, it's just not working for me. So I don't know what it is. My current writing right now, what I've been working on is I'm playing in a role-playing game for Call of Cthulhu. And my character is an accountant, but also as part of the game, they always have someone who writes a journal throughout the campaign in character. And so that's what I've been wasting my time on. It's awesome. So, and I love it because I'm just like this stodgy accountant experiencing all of this supernatural phenomena. And somehow, eventually, I'm being told that the weight of the world lies on my shoulders, the pressure. So I have a lot of not good things happening to this poor accountant.
So here's an idea. Maybe make it loosely, like make it very like one of those like historical fiction type books where you are telling a fictional story, but it's all real to you.
Something, I don't know.
My stepdaughter would read it, but no, my stepdaughter gets into those books where everybody dies of cancer. She's always reading like, all of those, I don't know, the guy from Indiana, he writes those books, makes the movies. The Fault in Our Stars and all that stuff. And
that was a great book. Yeah.
We always tease, like, if she, like, because sometimes we'll find out they've been watching someone on Netflix or our Amazon or whatever, and I'll be like, well, we start watching, well, yeah, that's why she was watching it, like, someone's gonna die, but yeah, I think like the idea that it has to be like, like autobiography and like an autobiography, but it could be, if you like fiction and basically write your own fan fiction about yourself.
So yeah,
you're like, no.
Absolutely not.
but Choosing to Live wants one. There's 2 sold. I'll buy one. And Cindy says that it's amazing, and she's so glad your family put their foot down. 100%. I think sometimes we get a little like, well, we got to let them make their choice. It's like, well, when we went keto in our household, our oldest wasn't living here at the time. Our 2 boys were living here. And we didn't necessarily say they had to be keto, but we didn't buy anything that wasn't keto. So if they ate food, and they weren't of an age where they were going to the grocery and buying their own food,
Right.
or had money to buy their own food. So if they ate here at our house, they were eating a ketogenic lifestyle. But if they went out with their dad or their friends or whatever, they could go to Burger King or whatever they wanted to do. They had the autonomy to make their own choices. And I mean, there were some times they probably wanted to commit mutiny and make us both walk the plank. But you know, I think I think it worked out because our middle boy, he kind of understood, and it took him a couple of years. He's 24 now, and he's kind of started going back to that and going, well, I know what I need to do if I want to be in shape. I know what I want to do if I need to feel good. You got construction going on in your house?
I have no idea what that was. I was just like, holy cow, what are they doing up there? In the meantime, if I ask, instead of imagining somebody tripping and falling, is there like probably the cat?
Yeah, it's probably just the cat. Like, our cats make the most noise for no reason. I think someone's breaking into the house and they're just like, "Meow."
Right.
And let's see. Danny is here. Thank you so much for being here, Danny. He's like, I stopped by fast this morning, meet in time to make sure my stomach is good for work Monday. Yeah, he's fasting as well. He's stopping his fast this morning, but he fasted. I think you made it 6 days because I'm on day 5. Maybe you were on day 5. I can't keep it straight. But hey, I'm on day 5 today, so I'm doing good. I haven't weighed myself, so I'm trying to take it easy on the liquids because I mean, you don't want to weigh yourself after you've had a bunch of liquid, right? That 0.2 pounds is going to make all the difference.
Right. Oh, and speaking of that, Danny, I think you're from the Dayton area, right? So I just got news updates that they finished a bike trail, so you don't have to go on any streets now. You can ride your bicycle from Columbus to Dayton, all on a trail, no roads.
That's interesting.
I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon, but
yeah, we've got more bike trails now, but like to get to the bike trails, you have to drive to them. Like there's no you can't just ride to the bike trail. I mean, at least in our area, we probably could because we kind of live in that no man's land. It's not quite rural. It's not city. It's not it's like a ruralish suburb for the time being. I mean, right now they're putting up they put up about 15 warehouses like right around our house in the last couple of years. So I don't think it's going to get to the point where there's like lots of neighborhoods anymore. But I mean, there's tons and tons of gigantic empty warehouses. So I don't know what they're going to put in all these, but they're there. Some have things in them, but yeah. But we do have some bike trails, and I just got to get a bike. I haven't had a bike since I was like 15 years old.
I see Jen's comment here. The problem you can't just have one or two, even knowing the consequences. Man, I have things like that. There are things when I'm like, this is too good. We just cannot even have it in the house because there's no way. I can't moderate. It's not having a serving. I'm having 10 servings, even if it's keto or whatever, man, it's a no-go. So, because that lack of control for certain things.
Yeah, that's the kind of one of the main focuses for the fasting for me. The beginning of each year is kind of a reset, and I do keep track of my weight because if I'm making content around fasting, that's the thing that people want to know, regardless of it's kind of a pointless metric when you're fasting because you'll lose like 2 to 3 pounds a day, but as soon as you reintroduce food into your system, you're going to gain back like 80% of it. So it's not necessarily for weight loss, but it's for me like the mental clarity. I feel really good. I sleep really good. I haven't had, because I've been having some heartburn kind of creep back in here and there, and I haven't had that. And it helps me with food control because no matter how hard I work at it, that's still a constant battle for me. So, even though I'm at the point now where I can walk down the cookie aisle and I can walk through the bakery and I can walk through all these things and not have an issue, I can go out to dinner with people and not have things I'm not supposed to and all this, that, and the other, little by little things might creep in. I don't have the problems that I once did, but keeping that from resurfacing on a grand scale is the battle. And so that's why I try to do like at least a 7-day fast to start the year, maybe one mid late year, that kind of thing. And the autophagy part of it is kind of cool, even though there's new studies saying really for autophagy you don't need to go more than 3 days and all this, that. And I'm like, okay, I just like doing 7. It's just, I don't know. But let's see. Renee is here. Good morning, Renee. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Good morning. And I see you changed your name again.
That's why I'm glad that they put Renee in there. So I'm like, okay. But is there 2 Renees and they both change their name all the time?
I only know one.
Because there's the Renee that's with like Heath and Shelly that changed their name. Was her name Renee? Like Shelly or Shelly's sister?
Oh, well, Heath's cousin. But
Heath's cousin.
Isn't that's not this Renee?
I don't know. I try to keep stuff straight, and I really do try to keep things. Like Cindy and I have a spreadsheet with like screen names and the real names. Oh, it doesn't help if you keep changing it. Yeah. So Jen says that she loves how you keep your life keto while eating such a variety of foods and food from different cultures, and your recipes are wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks. Hey, quiet dog. Sorry, I have to yell at my dog here. He's getting excited about, I have no idea. It's trash day, so people are meandering outside as well. So he's mad too. He's snorting over there.
Doesn't like me. It's fine. This is what I was thinking. Lynette said maybe work with a ghostwriter. That's why I was kind of thinking maybe like Chat GPT could help work with that. Because then you don't have to pay Chat GPT. You got to pay a ghostwriter. I mean, that's what most celebrities do when they do their autobiographies. They just go and sit down with someone and just tell them, and then they write it all fancy like.
That's true. I apologize. I don't know why he's all worked up and working.
It's a pupper. It's fine. And then during our live last night, there was a loud thump somewhere in our house. Cindy says.
Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna. All right. I've sent a message upstairs to be like, please come help get the dog.
Danny says he's in Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati. I don't know why I thought you were in Dayton.
Well, isn't that where James and Emily are, right? In that area?
No, I thought they were in Cincinnati area too.
I think they're. I don't know. I'm not trying to dox them or anything, but I think.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, no. The cities are all big and spread out so much that knowing the big city, you would never find someone there.
Right. Christy is here. Thank you for being here, Christy.
Good morning.
I know this Saturday sit down, but I interviewed Coach Bronson yesterday, so now I'm lifting heavy things while I listen.
Okay.
That's good. I need to start doing that. I've been very lax on doing any kind of movement. And Jen has a question. She says, how is the certification you're working on going, the health or nutrition one?
I'm sorry, hang on a second.
No worries, dear.
My dog is just like flipping his lid this morning. We're going to make him take a little trip outside. So I am a health and nutrition certified coach. However, not a ketogenic coach. I work with, I have a very small select clients for mobility limited and differently abled persons. So not that I couldn't, but I don't do things like that. And the kind of exercise or regimens and movements that I do aren't things that would work in the same way like a Bronson. Bronson is a CrossFit coach. That's a whole different world, and that's way more extreme. The kind of things that I work with are people who like they can't move their arm, or like I have one client with cerebral palsy and two with Down syndrome with some physical issues that they can't do a lot of normal things. And that's the kind of stuff that I work with, helping them with their movement and getting in like day-to-day exercise. I do have one person who it is related to some weight, and they're bedbound, so we do some things there. That's the kind of movement and things that I do. And so, yeah, the nutrition part of the education from the university, it's all your standard stuff. We briefly touched on low carb and ketogenics and stuff like that, but by and large, they don't buy into it. So, which is weird because OSU has an entire research facility with Dr. Volek at the head that is all about ketogenics. They've received that tremendously huge grant for their military study regarding ketogenesis on soldiers and other people out in the field. So it's really weird that their fitness and athletic doesn't jump on board with some of that.
They probably don't even realize that they have it. I mean, it's because it's funny though, because I listen to a lot of talks by both Finney and Volek because they work together a lot. You know, Finney's more involved with Verta now, but Finney and Volek, Finney's like the charismatic, the guy you like to listen to. He's fun to listen to. Volek, if what I remember, was like very Bueller-esque, like very like dry, if I'm remembering correctly. Because when I started this, like you, being a person who will go down every rabbit hole I can find, I was watching loads and loads of talks from Low Carb Down Under, from the Low Carb San Diego, all of the very science-based talks. Not so much like because like if you start getting to the other talks, like when you go to like Keto Palooza or Keto Con or Hack Your Health, or those talks are all very more TED Talky type, you know, where they're more infotainment versus like when you go to like some of those other conferences, they're not public. I mean, you can go, like I could probably get tickets and go to those, but they're going to be more infocentric, very more, you know, I'm sure they're entertaining to a degree because they want people to not fall asleep, but that's very dry material. But I watched so much of that stuff, so I got to know like Noakes and Finney, Volek, Fetke, all these great people in the low carb and, you know, the low carb hierarchy, you know. Hopefully over time I could probably get some of them on and have them talk here with me, because I mean, that would just be cool for me. That would just be my fanboy kicking in, you know?
Right. But, I would love to see Dr. Volek, but he's hard to book. I've had a couple exchanges with him, trying to get him for a local meetup, and it's just like his calendar is insane, and he's often not in the state. You know, he is very involved in Verta Health. They are also part of the same study. So, boy, but I would love to get a sit down with him.
I would love to be able to sit down because I've been reaching out to, but again, I haven't tried all that hard, but I sent an email to, and it may just be an old email, but I reached out to Eric Westman because he and I had a chat at Low Carb for Better Health. I got a chance to meet him in person, and I reached out to him via email. And I've reached out to Gary Taubes. You would think it would be a little easier, but I don't know, because he even follows me on Twitter, which is the day he followed me, I was like running around the house like an idiot, showing Shannon. She goes, "Okay." She didn't know who she has no idea. She's like so far removed from that side of this. She's involved with our community to the extent that she can be. It's not necessarily her like passion, so she's involved because of me, and you know, but like that's why like her reselling stuff is her passion, her nursing is her passion. But I was like, Gary Taubes follows me on Twitter now. She goes, okay. But I mean, I was like, you know, but anyway, I reached out to him, and I've been trying. I mean, maybe I can get him. There's a controversial person that I would like to have sit down with, that they've gone low carb and they kind of gone like, I just don't know how like the community would react, but we you know, I don't know. I've reached out to, and I don't even know if you would know who they are, but Jenna Jameson. She's a
Okay,
low
I've
carb
heard of Jenna
advocate.
Jameson. I
Yeah,
think that would be great. So I am not the keto police. I love
right.
hearing from people who are doing things that they have passion about to improve their health or to improve their overall quality of life.
Hmm.
If I have someone who wants to tell me about how they have really gotten into meditation and it's reduced the stress in their life, which overall then impacted their health, I'm excited for that. I love hearing that. Just like granted, I'm a big nerd into board games and stuff like that. So great. But sometimes there's like that divide where like people want to then talk smack about people who like sports. But listen, if you are passionate about football and you are the guy who in there who paints their face and gets super excited and is so thrilled when there's a score that they throw their beer in the air, I'm excited for that too, because you're showing your passion. And
I
so,
noticed that yesterday
yeah,
too with people where, it was yesterday, the day before, where Target had those pink Stanley cups on sale and people were going crazy and people were like, I don't understand why they would go buy this $50 cup. And I'm like, but why do you care? That makes them, and there's that, you can joke and chuckle, but like there, if that $50 cup makes somebody happy, I don't, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, I have a couple of the knockoff ones. I'm actually thinking about buying a real one because the knockoff one doesn't keep my water cold or keep my ice or anything. These knockoff Yeti cups work way better than the knockoff like Stanley cup I got. But we got it on clearance anyway, so I'm not that disappointed in it. But
yeah, if you want
yeah,
the cup with the straw, I do know that there are some people who say that the Stanley Cup, a few people have had some leaking issues with those. But then, on the other side of the fence, I know a lot of people who swear that they are the greatest thing ever. So, 50-50 on what your experience will be. I
yeah,
have a Stanley, but it's not a cup with a straw. It's just a regular, just like my hydro flask, but it's a Stanley. This is a Keto Chow, of course. So the OG.
yeah. And
But
I like for me, like it's the price. Like, I understand that people like their Yetis and they like whatever they like. Um, I'm just, people just get so upset and get so worked up over what makes somebody else's happy. Like the thing you said about like people who play, Dungeons and Dragons or build the little models and paint them and those like World of Warcraft and all like the card games and all like the role playing games and all of those things. And then they'll turn around and make fun of people who like basketball, football, hockey, sports ball, and I'm like, I get that that's not what you're into and you don't understand why people like that. But the same thing is true that people who love sports don't understand why you like what you like. But you're basically the same on two different fronts.
right, and for whatever reason, neither group wants to accept and appreciate the other. So, well,
Right. And that's what I want to do with this platform. Like I'm having a friend on who's not necessarily ketogenic, low carb, anything like that, but he is like I don't know how many years sober. He quit drinking. He's trying to be a better husband, better father, and I want to talk to people like that. I mean, even if I come across somebody who's vegan, who's, you know, doing it for health reasons and not just, or like for whatever reason, somebody's doing something to better themselves. I want to talk to them because their why is what's important. Not everybody's going to be keto. Not everybody's going to be carnivore. I'll talk to carnivore, ketovore. I'll talk to anyone that's trying to better themselves, whether it's from alcohol, food, drugs, whatever, gambling. I don't care. Everyone's got something in their life that they struggle with maintaining some semblance of day-to-day normalcy, if you will, just living your day-to-day life and being able to get through the day-to-day tasks that we all have to accomplish uninterrupted by the struggles and our own demons, if you will.
let's do some more comments.
Yeah. Let's see. I would love to talk to Noakes. I would love to talk to Tim Noakes. That would be so cool. And says, I think it would be Choosing to Live says that they would love to hear from people who are approaching health improvements in different ways. Yeah, that's one thing that I've always wanted to do here. And Jen says that don't yuck someone else's yum, 100%. And I know it's easy to joke. It's easy to make fun of people. It's easy to just, especially if you don't understand it. And it's that line. You don't want to like make them feel bad about themselves, but I don't know. But also you can't take it too seriously. Yeah. Cindy says that it shouldn't matter to anyone what others are doing to better themselves and their health. Just like we keep hearing, everyone needs to find what works for them. I love seeing other people thrive, being happy, being successful, regardless of what it is. I love seeing people live their best life. 100%. And I'm glad that over the last year plus, because I met you, Meitreya, at that first indie meetup that Jackie put together at BW3s. I met you, and I met Dawn and Mike, and I met James and Emily, and I met Jen Lucas, and so many other people that day. That was one of the biggest days for me in this lifestyle in 8 years, because I had been doing my channel for over 2 years at that point, and I was chugging along, just making content, but it didn't have community. I had some people that would comment on videos, but it didn't have a consistent community. I didn't have, like, it helped and it solidified my why. I mean, I knew I was doing YouTube because I wanted to do YouTube, but it wasn't becoming a bigger YouTuber, but growing in the way to where I was making a difference. But yeah, so meeting you and everybody has made it a family, and it's made it feel like home. And I'm very, very thankful for that.
Same. In fact, that's really the only reason that I have a YouTube channel at all. And that was because I just wanted one more avenue where I could talk to the people that I had been meeting in real life, and just continue sharing some of the different interests that I have and having that opportunity to chat. I know there are a lot of people who start a channel, and this has nothing to do with keto channels, but like their only goal is to get monetized. And so their content is all created with that in mind, with certain following all of the rules and stuff. Whereas I'm working really hard to make sure my channel doesn't get to a monetized stage. In fact, when it hits the rest of the metrics with the 1,000 subscribers, I found the settings where you can turn it off to not generate ad revenue. So I'm hoping that that'll work out. And not that there's anything wrong with making money, but I don't want to put that I don't want to make it into something that it's not. Whereas my channel is more about just like connecting with a smaller audience and fostering that community. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wrestle with myself is I do want to grow. I want to build a community. I want to extend my reach. I want to make sure that anybody that's out there that feels the way that I used to feel can find me, can find some ray of hope. And I know that they'll slowly find me. And I know that if they're looking, they'll find me, or they'll find us, not necessarily just me. That's why I'm very open. Like like any of these lives, any live that we do, anybody that's got a wrench can post anybody's link. They can post anything about their videos that they're working on, anything they're excited about. I want that to be shared. And I know a lot of other creators are a little weird about that. Like, why are you coming in and trying to poach my subscriber? I don't want that. I want to grow, but I want to bring everybody with me.
Right. No, that makes sense to me. I think that really people are going to subscribe to channels and they're going to do multiple channels, just like in other things. Like if I'm in a crochet space, I see the same people in all of the different channels. So it's not like if somebody subscribed to you, they wouldn't pop over and then also see my videos. Now they may be like, man, Meitreya could take some lessons from that Keto Simple and get some quality in there. but but my information is good, and I'm friendly, so within a curve.
I do stress about things that are outside of the community too, because there is a financial factor involved in this.
Sure.
Because we are putting out money for this. Like, I do pay for, web hosting, and I pay for StreamYard, and I pay for cameras, and I pay for all these things. And I don't have a job outside of this and taking care of our granddaughter and keeping the house the lived in look that it has. I can't say that it's always clean, but we live here, and that's my thing. And at least getting it to where it's sustainable for me is kind of the goal. And I know,
sure.
Yeah. So, at least not be running in the red all the time. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway.
No, that makes sense. And like I said, I think that there are places to make money. And that's where, for someone like me, I don't want to detract from someone else making money, but also I still want us to be able to connect and share and learn. And you just have me cracking up thinking about the house. I'm looking over there where I'm like, well, it's a good thing people can't see right there because convention supplies for a tournament have started arriving. And so this weekend, that's our thing now. We have to unpack it all and stage it and prep it and tote it and then put it into storage until we cart it to the convention. But so I have 16 cases of these and a vending machine for them, and then special coins to give. I've got thousands of these special coins to give to attendees so that they have swag for the tournament.
That's awesome. Like, the thing is you see what you see here, but you don't see the mess that is the rest of my office. So it's very curated to what you see. And that's the kind of thing, like, I wish my kitchen was set up better, because I do have an island, but it's just an empty island. There's no cooktop on it. There's no sink on it. And I would like to be able to do lives where I can cook and talk, or just make cooking content better with my face, instead of just being like one of those. Any of the cooking videos that I do are faceless, because I've got to have the way the camera has to be set up. And that would be like a goal too, one day, to have a better setup to where I can make better content cooking wise, to where I'm involved and you can see me, not just hear me in like a voiceover or whatever. But yeah, like, it's a disaster area around here. Shanna's like, you need to clean your room, and I'm like, it's my room. So let's see, and let's see. Karen says, exactly, I agree. I might hear something that helps me, or someone that might help someone else. Yeah, because even if someone's doing something different from you, living a different lifestyle from you, they're always going to have different perspectives and a different way to look at things that you may not have thought of, that could be useful, that could be plugged into what you're doing to make something just that much easier, that much more sustainable, to give you that much more consistency. And I think that's a huge driving factor to talking with people, even if they're not the echo chamber that we kind of run into sometimes with all of our channels. So, yeah. And Jen says, we are multidimensional beings. You're doing DMT, Jen? What's going on? We are multidimensional beings. We have different facets and interests, and tend to follow the person, not the content. Yes. And then see, Cindy put the link in for Karen's channel. Follow her, subscribe, check out her content. I have not yet done so, I do not believe, but I will try to do that once we are done here. 18 people watching. We should have 18 likes. drop to 16. You should leave. How could you leave such a good conversation? I kind of wonder why people watch in the first place. But I mean, that's just my whole like imposter syndrome kind of kicking in sometimes. Like when I decided to start doing the Sunday talks before I even decided to do these Saturdays, I was like, I'm just going to go on here and I'm going to talk probably once or twice. No one's going to show up, and I'm just going to talk and look like a dum-dum. And then people showed up a lot. Like people kept coming back, and I was like, well, that's cool. But it was like totally, I mean, that wasn't the reason for it, because I'm like, Sunday at 7:30 a.m., who in their right mind is going to be awake and wanting to watch me talk to a screen? But here we are, and I appreciate each and every one of you that show up, and I'm appreciative to all of you, and and coming to talk with me and find out more about Meitreya, even though I'm sure that most of you are very familiar with Meitreya, but hopefully you'll learn something today that you didn't already know.
Yeah, and and I have a channel too, and tomorrow Sunday evening is when I do my live stream coffee talk, and we're making chicken paprikash tomorrow night. So,
and Meitreya's link is in the pinned comment up there. So if you look at the pinned comment, you can see it says add QQQ if you want to ask a question for Meitreya or myself, and then her YouTube link is right there in the pinned comment. So follow her, subscribe, watch her content, interact. And then let's see here. Jen's asking a question, and I imagine this will be a nice lengthy question. What's your go-to coffee for both of you? And I'll let you go first.
I don't have a go-to coffee because I love such a huge variety. I'm a big coffee nerd. But if you want to know what my favorite is, it's just a regular Turkish coffee. And gosh, we haven't made one on Coffee Talk in a long time because Turkish coffee is kind of strong for the evening. But it's delicious. And I think that's probably my very favorite. But day to day, it just whatever I find that looks interesting to try. And right now, though, we just have the organic coffee from Fresh Time. So we grind the beans and we just throw it in a pot. If I'm having a one-off cup, V60 is my favorite pour-over brewer. So, yeah. And today it's definitely, I think this is the Sumatra from the organic Fresh Time line. So.
We have a Instant Pod brand, like the same company that makes Instant Pot. We have an espresso K-cup combo. I would like to have an actual espresso machine. So Chandra's sister has one. So when we go up to Wisconsin and visit them, that is like, it's dangerous because they'll make us some espresso and then they'll steam the heavy cream and pour it in there. And I am in literal heaven.
Yeah, but that's definitely a monetary investment. The low end is going to still run you like $800 or $900. So
I don't know what theirs is, but I'll see them pop up in ads and it looks similar to what they have. It's got the grinder on top and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I'm sure they spend a pretty penny on it. But it's like, if I had the coin, I would totally drop for one of those because, and I mean, and they're just using like Costco, like the bulk Costco beans, and it comes out tasting better than you can get at a coffee shop around here.
Yeah, a lot of that is the pressure from the machine, but also the controlled temperature and the brew process from the water. Learning how to get it right too. Obviously, if it's that delicious, they've gotten their process down. So that's.
Or I've got like a very naive, like my palate is just like, give me whatever. Because I like the taste of like McDonald's coffee too, but that's just, whatever. But McDonald's coffee does have a very distinct flavor to it. I don't know what they add to it, but it does taste different.
So I'm just going to tell you, a while back, I did a blind tasting where we set up all of the tastings. I did it just like you do, like a real barista would with the cups and it's called a cupping process. And we did a whole line. And one of them, I tasted it and I was like, well, this is really weird, but I don't taste anything. It was completely neutral. And I set it aside and I was like, I don't know what to say about this because it is completely neutral. I could just drink a plain water and feel like I was having the same experience. And then when we matched up the cups and the numbers and stuff to it, it turned out the neutral one was the McDonald's. So
weird.
Whereas I will say again, will never ever ever give me a sponsorship of any kind. The Folgers, I almost couldn't swallow it. I was like, oh, that one is bad. So.
My grandma used to drink Folgers. Like that was her go-to coffee, Folgers French roast. That was like her thing. She drank it every day for, for decades. And so that's what I would drink when she'd make coffee. And I was like, but like when we got the Nespresso pods and we started using those, even though we don't use the Nespresso branded ones, we use this brand that Amazon sends us. It's just like their basic bulk. They come in 50 pod boxes and we have 150 pods delivered every 2 weeks. So we go through coffee in this house, just Chandra and I. So 4 pods a time each day. That's 8 pods a day. Yes, I mean,
well, the Espresso machines make a nice cup of coffee. We like to talk about some of the competition baristas that we watch on YouTube. Even they say like, hey, this was actually a nice cup of coffee. So, you're in good company there with enjoying that.
Yeah, and I do watch some of those like the shorts. Then they're showing you how to like make this perfect cup of espresso. And I'm like, and they're tamping and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the patience for all of that. Like I know it comes out so delicious, but just like the effort and the work, the minutia of those, like there's like this there's a food truck girl who runs like a coffee food truck, and she's super passionate about her, and she's super passionate about her coffee and shows all these different ways to make coffee, and it all looks so good. She's so so funny, and she's so passionate about her coffee, but I'm like, I would not do any of those every day. Like where you have like the weird crafts that do, like you had something similar, one of those a couple of weeks ago on one of your lives. You had to hit the button and it started coming down, and I'm like,
that's my go-to, the V60. That's my favorite. That's a pour over. I've seen her. I know exactly what you're talking about, and her name is suddenly gone from my head, of course, because I would love to be able to blurt it out and like tell people to go follow her because she's delightful. But she's been using one that I see a lot, the origami, and I don't own one, and I think that I'm going to have to pick it up just because it's gotten such rave reviews.
Let me see this. I think your mom's house shorts had her on because I guess she gets these comments like, you delete your channel and all these mean things. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the shorts for them and I can find her name. Let me see.
Yeah.
Because people on the internet are mean. And that's another thing you have to deal with doing. Luckily, I don't have a lot of that here. And I haven't experienced too much of that here. And hopefully you haven't either. And I know some people have, and all that stuff. So let me see if I can see their shorts and see if should be one of them more recent ones.
Caitlin Campbell. That's who it is.
She's so cute. She's adorable. If that's polite to say, I don't know. I just think I'm at an age where everybody that's younger than me is adorable. I can't help it. Like everybody who's younger than me is adorable. Oh, it's the grandpa in me, I guess. Let's see. It says, we watch because you're intelligent, personable. I don't know. Intelligence a stretch. Personable and interesting guests on both sides of the screen. That I have cool guests. I don't know how intelligent I am. You should be around me like all day because I'm like, I have my issues.
I had all my issues yesterday with my technology breaking down, and it's like I felt so dumb, and I was like having like a little emotional meltdown, and I was like, okay. And then this morning, after a good night's sleep, I woke up and I was like, click, all better. So
yeah, and that's like so Chandra's kind of the same way with technology, so I have to help her. So typically, like we're looking to get new phones because our phones are I think 6 years old now. And 6 years, like that's grandpa phones now. I mean, the hardware is probably good enough, but the software probably isn't updated enough to keep it running properly. And apps don't update on older phones anymore. So things like I have trouble, like when I'm on my phone and I want to comment on a YouTube video, sometimes I won't even bother because I'll click the comment button and I have to sit and wait. So I usually start watching the video, and before I have anything I actually want to comment, I'll hit the comment button and watch the video and wait 5 minutes for myself to be able to actually type into the comment box on my phone. And I've got what was a flagship phone. I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 9 that we got in 2018, like late 2018. And now it's like, I mean, it still takes wonderful video. It does all the things that I need it to do. It's just not, in certain aspects, not as snappy as it
Right.
needs to be. And Chandra's screen has been broken 3 times. We've repaired it twice. It's broken again now. So she was going to go get a new phone the other day, but I was like, well, they're going to be putting the way we keep our phones, if we're getting super close to a new phone coming out, it only makes sense to wait for the newest best, because we are going to keep it until it basically doesn't work anymore.
Like, is a new release coming? Because I mean, although it feels like even when you buy the new release, the next new one is coming right out behind it. Like,
well, that's at least with Samsung. They do multiple releases, but they used to do, like in the spring, they would do the SC, like the Galaxy S flagship series, and then in the fall they would do the Notes. But they've consolidated them down to where if you get the Galaxy S Ultra, it's basically the Note, so it comes out at the same time as all the other ones. So really, there's only one major flagship release a year for Samsung, outside of maybe like the Folds or something kooky like that, or like they'll put out like their tablets and all that stuff. And I know it should be announced sometime soon. I think there's a Samsung event planned for later this month.
oh, well, maybe I'm gonna check that out because I don't necessarily need to upgrade right now, but I'm definitely uh, at a point where, like, my phone is paid for and everything. But I'm gonna wait and see because I do have that Samsung 21 Ultra Plus that was supposed to be part of the hybrid between the Note, and it'll take a stylus. You can use a stylus, but the thing that it doesn't have is what I missed from the Note is that the little spot where you could store your stylus in the phone.
Well, that's supposed to be what the S Ultras are supposed to have, the stylus and built in, right?
You can use a stylus on it. You can buy the stylus for the phone, but it doesn't have the little hole to store it. So you got to somehow manage to track it and keep hold of it.
Oh, so I mean, I guess we'll see what the S24 has. The S24 Ultra. It's supposed to be titanium and all that stuff. I don't know how that's I don't know what difference that makes, but I like, because my phone has the stylus. I still have the Note,
yeah,
and it's got what I use the stylus for is taking pictures, selfies, because it's got a little clicky button on it that you can hold it out, and you, instead of having to fumble around and hit the. Just, but yeah, I mean, I like that. But I was thinking that they still were doing that. Maybe they've gone away from that. Maybe they'll come back. Oh, excuse me. So I guess we'll see when they do the launch event. Because this has got the 5. This was the biggest that they had at the time, the 512, but it's also got expandable storage. Right. I think the new ones don't have expandable storage anymore, which is kind of a bummer. But if I can get one that's got a terabyte in it, then I'll be fine because of all the video, and I do a lot of editing. Like with some of the stuff with the stylus, I don't necessarily do. It's not as precise on the phone, but I do a lot of like social media stuff on my phone, back and forth between Canva and Adobe and all that stuff. So I'm always making little things to post, stay relevant. You know how that goes. But right. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get an update soon. And like I said, because Chandra and I were talking, I was like, we keep our phones until we can't keep them anymore. So it makes sense if there's something coming out in a few weeks to get the best, because we do keep them well after we've paid them off, because now it's 36 months. So 3 years, and then we pay them off and we keep them for a couple of years and we're not paying a phone bill or whatever. And hopefully then, so I guess we'll see. But I mean, yeah, they stopped making the note, so hopefully they bring the stylus back. I don't know.
Right.
I've seen a lot of teaser stuff and a lot of video, but most of it's all renderings. So I haven't seen anything official leak or anything like that. Because I used to be huge into phones back in the BlackBerry days. I would follow so close on all the BlackBerry stuff, but then that went by the wayside. And then Samsung and all the Apple stuff. I've never had an Apple device or anything like that. I thought about getting an Apple laptop for editing, but I didn't want to then have to buy into the whole ecosystem. So
right, that's the whole thing. I'm and for me, and the things that I do that are not related to like YouTube and internet type things, on the PC is more compatible. Simply like, project management software is not a thing that is really exciting on Apple devices. It's definitely your corporate PC environment type and geared towards that. So yeah, I'm better off having lesser for certain things and keeping, what I need for a professional in a good solid standing.
One of the last technological rabbit holes I went down is when I was replacing my PC. I went to look for a laptop, and it had to meet some requirements. It had to be a laptop that I could create with. I could be able to edit video, and I utilized DaVinci Resolve as my my editing software. So it had to be able to run Resolve relatively smoothly, and it had to be in a price point that I can afford. And luckily, I was able to find this Lenovo like over a year ago now at Costco for like $1,300.
Okay.
Like
I think we probably have the same laptop then. I got my Lenovo, but I was able to get it at Micro Center, and it was about it was in a similar price range. So yeah.
So this is the Slim 7 Pro X. It's got a 3050 in it and DDR5 RAM and all that stuff. So
yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got a Ryzen 9, so it's got like high-end specs. I mean, the 3050 is kind of an entry-level GPU, but yeah, I mean, it works for me, and I've been able to make more videos, and it's way more stable than my desktop was. So that was a long rabbit hole, because like you try to balance budget, because laptops can easily go $5,000-$6,000
right
if you're looking for something to edit with. And I happened to see this one at Costco, and I started looking it up, and I started watching the reviews, and they were like, for the money, it's like a home run. So I was like, okay. So I went and bought it, and I'm happy with it. Let's look at some more comments here. Let's see. There was something here about coffee. I'm with you. Just give me the damn coffee. I don't need super fancy stuff. I just like my caffeine, and I need it now. I miss my cream. That with fasting is not having any cream. And I know cream, I'm going into carnivore after my fasting is done. So I will probably not have cream for the rest of the month. But, and I'm sure cream is probably an issue because I end up using way more cream than I should. Because people are like, I only use a tablespoon of cream. And I'm like, you're a liar. I use so much cream.
So I drink my coffee black, but if on occasions when I do want like a nice a cappuccino or something, I'm sorry, I'm not using a tablespoon of cream. That's ridiculous. It's like at that point you may as well just not bother. Yeah. So I'm going to use a regular amount of cream so that it's appropriate to the drink. So.
And there is a question here. I think you may have briefly touched on it in the beginning, but Brenda's asking, how did you get into bike riding, cycling?
That's really I would have to say that I didn't love it at first, but my best companion ever, Attila, for some of you have met, is an avid bicycle rider. And I wanted to be able to do something with my bestie, and we tried a couple of bikes, and I'll be honest, I hated it. It was terrible. But I was like ultimately saying, but I can do it now, and it's good for me. And I got frustrated, and I finally went to the Trek store, and I bought a bike there. I got on it, and I was like, what? This is amazing, and it feels completely different. And I basically got on that bike and it was a dream. And I started doing more. It got enthusiastic. I got involved with the cycling community here. I learned a lot about road safety. I found a lot about the environmentalism, commuting, transport, and now I have a collection of bikes, and I'm a crazy cycling person. So, see, you gotta watch your friends. They're dirty, dirty influences.
They really are. Yeah. I mean, I remember, like I said, I haven't probably ridden a bike since I was like 15 years old, like on a regular basis. I haven't owned a bike since back then. And I remember just being a kid and getting on my bike and how free that was, how freeing it is, and how, like, it's kind of like, the next step up is like when you finally get a car and you can just go wherever you want. That's kind of where biking was for me back then. And I want to start biking again, but we've just got to be able to find bikes that are suitable and will hold us. And because I've been on a couple of bikes over the last maybe 20 years, and I get on them and the tires are like, get off me. And, yeah, and the frames are like, you're hurting me. And, I mean, I feel bad. And, yeah, so, and I know like bikes, there's Walmart bikes and then there's everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't buy a Walmart bike. Those are that kind of thinking, where I was like, well, I'm not an enthusiast. I just want to go out and tootle about a little bit with my, and buying something cheap. And then even upgrading just a little bit. I bought a bike at a bicycle shop. And as it turned out, they were more interested in selling me equipment than getting me sized appropriately. And so it was never delightful because it didn't fit me proper. And as it turned out, I've learned that even just a couple of centimeters makes a huge difference. And there you go. So bike fit is the number one thing, turned out.
And Jen has a question. She says, what are you both looking forward to in 2024?
Not being fired from my job.
You've mentioned some of that, like the whole like restructuring and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I did get word. They've told me, do not stress. We have found something for you. And then they told me the bad part, which is, but it's temporary, lesser than what you have now, position wise. Not my pay is going to stay the same, so that's fine. And then they said, and then what we want to do is then we're going to restart a new program, hopefully in October or November, because we're hoping the financial outlook will be better. And then you're going to have another new position, and it'll be a step up from what I have now. So I'm going to go down and then back up. And I'm like, unfortunately, I need my job, but I don't care. I like what I'm doing right now. And I had already looked at stepping up, and I was already had made a decision that I would prefer not to, because the level of BS that comes with it. And as it turns out, now I'm not going to get a choice. So you just can't win for losing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what, like, I need to like probably maybe pick up like a part-time job, but then like the parameters of me picking up said part-time job, I need to work around Chandra's schedule, and then I've kind of backed myself into a corner with a lot of the obligations that I've put here. And so like I'm like trying, if I could go find a part-time job that one pays enough to make it worth my time, which is kind of kind of a task in of itself, because I don't want to go all, and I know that sounds like I'm more valuable at home than making $8 an hour out at a job or whatever.
I don't know. That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. So like if I'm spending time away from the house, away from everything that I've got to do here to help make extra money, it has to be worth it. So, and I mean, and then the obligations that I've kind of built myself into here. So I mean, it'll be something that I definitely have to look at in the next month, 2 months. But that's also one thing, because I came from the corporate world, like where doing insurance and being in an office and all that, like when you're in it, you don't necessarily see like how toxic it can be, and it seems fine for like, and then like when you get out of it, you're like, oh, that was awful. Like when you're in it, you're like, I've got a job and I've got coworkers. Like coworkers kind of, when you have good coworkers, like it can mask a lot of bad about your job, right? And like I had some great coworkers when I worked at I was at an insurance company for 12 years, and I had some great coworkers, and we're still friends to this day. But like over time, like management breaks down and it becomes more and more toxic, and like they're not there for you anymore, they're there for themselves and upper management, and they're not really advocates for you anymore. And like I start thinking about that, and then re-entering and going trying to find something to do, and I'm like, I would want to go do something where like I have no responsibilities necessarily, because but then I have that drive issue of myself to where I would want to be like, well, I don't want to just be entry level anymore. I want to, I want to do better things. And I was like, so I don't know, the anxiety of that is kind of overwhelming, but
no, but seriously, I'm actually really looking forward to the spring and summer conventions. I'm excited to have this Catan tournament. I'll be in Indy, by the way, for Hoosier Con, and I'm really super looking forward to that. It's the end of March, so that's going to be exciting doing that. And then I've got a whole slew of conventions. We've got Buckeye Game Fest, Origins Game Fair, Matsuri Con, and of course the big one, Gen Con. So some good stuff going on there.
Well, let me know what goes on when you're in town. As always, we can meet up, if we can make schedules work. And for me, 2024, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with this community, how many people we can help, how many people we can get involved. I'm looking forward to, obviously, on the YouTube side, what I can do better to serve the community, what kind of content I can make to better serve the community, making content that is helpful, entertaining, and all of that stuff. I'm also looking forward to the meetups. I know that there's Dawn sent out an email last night about the Columbus meetup.
I don't know if it's Columbus or not. I'm actually not involved in organizing that one, so that's purely a Dawn Does Keto. So I don't know where or when. Well, I guess I do know when. I think she put out a date. So
yeah, I think March 16th is tentative.
Yeah.
I know that there is an indie meetup scheduled for February. I'd have to go. Let me see if I can find that date real quick. From I think it is on what is that, Low Carb Events?
Oh, I'll check that out. I'll sign up for the indie meetup.
Because it's not mine. It's just a meetup at Smoky Bones in Avon. So let me see if I can find what that one is. I'm mad at Jen Lucas because she's going on the 2KK cruise and I don't get to go.
I'm going to too many conventions, so I can't afford to go on a cruise.
Right? It's February the 3rd, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., Smoky Bones in Avon, which is basically central Indiana, so basically Indianapolis. Meet up at Smoky Bones. We will postpone to February 10th if the weather is bad. Not required, but feel free to bring keto product, book, or recipe to share. So that's Saturday, February the 3rd at 1 p.m. So, and then we are looking at May. Let me double check my stuff here. We are probably in the process of pre-planning the Indie Keto meetup for May. So the larger one, having people come out the same place we've been the last 2 times.
Oh, at that community center?
Yes. So out in Amo, Indiana. Let me go back and I got to find this here. Too many text messages. Let me see. You don't realize how often you text people until you go back to find something. So it looks like it's going to be May the 18th. So we are wondering. So we are kind of looking to see, and I was kind of going to put a feeler out because the one we did last May, we worked very hard to reach out to lots and lots of vendors trying to get swag bags and stuff to give away for prizes. And I know that that is something that people like, but I want to know how necessary that is. I have some things in my garage that I have collected. I have like a group of like 5 nostalgia little mini waffle makers that I got at a yard sale for really, really cheap. And I was like, I could give those away because those are always handy for people. Um, and I've got a like a countertop uh, bacon grease container that's got like the micro filter and stuff and all that stuff to give away. But I was curious to see how important it is for our community to want or need swag bags and try to get vendors. I was probably going to reach out to some of the vendors that I'm affiliated with just to see what they would send, if anything. But we got so much work went into that first one and we didn't get a lot of responses back. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, we could look at Keto Chow, Salty. I'm now an affiliate with Pork and Good pork rinds. They probably wouldn't send pork rinds, but they maybe send maybe like an added discount code or something like that that might be good for others. Um, but yeah, I'm just kind of curious to see what people think, just to kind of feelers out, because I want it to be community and I want people to come and hang out.
So my feedback is I think that attendees don't care that much about the swag bags. It's a nice to have, but getting together and seeing people, meeting and greeting, and that's the important part. However, on the organizer side of the fence, man, I love giving away swag. I have such a good time doing that, and I'm like, give away, give away, give away. So
I enjoy people coming in and knowing that we can give them all these products, because that was so like when I came to that meetup where I met you and Avon back in 2022, it was like December of 2022. I had never tried Keto Chow before, and I walked away with like 8 or 9 packets of Keto Chow from that meetup. I had never tried it before. I never tried Keto Brick. I'd never tried a lot of these things. So, I mean, I know that that is something that is valuable to people in the community, because there are certain cost restrictions to some people where they may not want to invest in trying Keto Chow for the first time. So where maybe they get a free packet, then they're like, oh, I do like this, or no, I'm glad I didn't spend the money. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's, and like, I like giving it out, but there's a lot of work that goes involved, like that's involved with putting those together and then all that. So I would like to give good food, have just hang out and just have a good time. Like I said, I will reach out to, Lynette at Keto Chow, and I'll reach out to any contacts that I may have with, and I'll send a couple of messages to, on Instagram to some companies and to see what they have. And like even what I did with the last one, I know you weren't able to make it because I think you had kind of like had convention fatigue or something like that,
Oh
and which
god,
is
yeah,
totally
it was
understandable.
too much.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, even sometimes, like even at Keto Palooza, like that midday, like I had you're meeting people and you're hanging out, and then like midday, I just went to my room and like took like an hour, just eyes closed, just nothing on, just because then you go back downstairs and you've got another 6 hours of like on, you know what I mean? And it's not like a celebrity on or anything like that. It's just you've got all these people you've been waiting for months to talk to, and they've been waiting to talk to you. And there's so many, it's just an overwhelming proposition. And that was something that even Steve from Serious Keto talked about. Like he has issues with that meeting up with lots and lots of people and having that social battery fatigue where it just kind of goes, once it's done, it's done. And I know Rachel's talked about that. And I know, that's something obviously, like I think Autumn from Autumn Does Keto has, that too. And, we all have those social battery issues where it's good. And then when it's gone, it's like, well, back a little while because I need to go decompress and,
Oh yeah, I definitely had that at KPL. Actually, it was like I was like, I'm gonna go for a nice little stroll, and then I'm gonna take a little nap. And my little nap, I woke up to messages from a few of my delightful friends going, "Where are you at? It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you missed everything." I was like, "Oops, I just crashed." So, but,
so let's see. We got some more comments in here. So people are basically saying, "Where's my mouse? There we go." Swag bags are good, but we come for people. Giveaways not necessary at all. Connecting with others is the real gift. Let's see. Thank you, Lynette, for being here. I appreciate
bye,
you so very
Lynette.
much.
Good luck with the fitting.
Good luck.
I guess I don't know if it's good luck, but
I'm going to say good luck because I don't want anybody to have bad luck. Okay.
Don't jab anybody with a pin.
Yeah. And Jen says that she agrees swag is nice but not necessary. But let's see. But Meitreya, if Big Moo offers, please take them up on that.
I can absolutely reach out to Big Moo and see if we can get another giveaway. They like it. Big Moo though likes to also, if they're gonna give you something for giveaway, they also want to see you do a video using the product. So, but I was like, that's not a problem. We can absolutely do that. I put out and made my fried cheese. It was delightful. Like, oh, twist my arm to make me eat some cheese.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I'm totally okay with making videos and such like that. I mean, I'm no stranger to that. And I mean, and hopefully I would like to be able to make some content. That's the problem is like, I'd like to be able to make content out of these meetups so people can see what the meetups are all about. So they can kind of get an idea that, it's not so scary. This is just a group of people, but it's like, you don't want to, one, not be in the moment. And two, you don't want to necessarily publicize it so much that it becomes too overwhelming. So it's like you want to keep that nice balance of being able to still talk with everybody but still kind of get the word out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm long-winded sometimes. And Jen mentioned something about a computer for a game. I can talk to you about that later. I like looking at that kind of stuff sometimes. It kind of gets my mind off of stuff. So it just look at the game you're going to play and kind of figure out what the requirements are and then what your budget is and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And Jen says she has an air fryer now.
Okay.
So she wants some fried cheese. Ooh, fried cheese sounds good. Of course, I mean, everything sounds really good. Like, that's the problem. Like, I start going the fasting route, and then I start doing, like I was telling you the other day on text, I was like, been watching those Dave Portnoy, like, one bite pizza reviews. Right. He records, like, because he travels all the time for sports, because he owns a sports, kind of like a sports book type thing or whatever. So there are all these sporting events all over the world. So he'll go to, like, and he has, like, an app. So, like, the pizza thing, there's like a one bite app on your phone, and you can look up any pizza place basically and find out what kind of bite, like what kind of one bite review it has. And so he goes to all these places, and sometimes they're not really nice to him because they know who he is, and they're like, "You're going to give me a score, and my pizza is going to come down to this score," and it's like, okay. I mean, he's the person where that review can make or break a business.
Sure. I watch a guy who does food reviews. What's his name? Keith Lee or Kevin Lee? I can't remember which one it is. Keith Lee, but I love his reviews.
Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. I think that if he said some place was not good, but he tends to mostly post some pretty positive reviews. But yeah. I think if he said, like, yeah, this place sucks, they would be out of business not too far after.
He had some controversy about some restaurants in Atlanta and stuff like that about a year, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know.
Probably.
But I follow him, and yesterday I watched a video. There's this guy who's like from England, and he's got a big beard like me, and he does like food challenges. And he went to this place somewhere in England. It was a Gordon Ramsay pizza place where you pay like 17 quid for all you can eat pizza. And then they had like a challenge, it was supposed to be the record for him was 38 slices of pizza in 2 hours.
Yeah.
and then he ate 48.
Dang.
And I'm like watching this, and I'm like, that pizza looks good. That pizza looks good. I watched these, and like, yeah, there's all kinds of pizza challenges, or like not just pizza challenges, but for some reason, pizza has been my kick recently. Like, there's like the shorts that pop up, and they're cutting pizza. And I'm like, oh, it looks so good. That's the problem with fasting, and I start coming up with all kinds of crazy ideas. Like when I stop fasting, I'm going to try to have an idea for some carnivore truffles. See how they come out, all that fun stuff to see.
That'd be interesting.
Because I'm like, I'm gonna want burgers, and I'm gonna want breakfast sandwiches, and I'm gonna want like something to hold it together, to make it like a bun. And I was thinking, but can I use pork rinds, eggs, and butter, and see how that works? See how I can make it, and see if it comes out right. Maybe like, because I've made chaffles out of breakfast sausage, eggs, and cheese. And that's amazing. But the cheese part, that's what holds it all together.
Right.
So I don't know if I could make that with pork rinds, if it would hold together the same and be like flexible. And I've only have a short of that, I think. I don't have a full length video of that. But that stuff was pretty good. It didn't get a lot. I mean, I always hope that people watch my content because I want everybody to know about how good something is. But I like fried cheese, Jen, and I want some fried cheese right now. I actually want all the food right now. Like, I do all the food prepping and making the lunches and dinners and all that stuff for Chandra. So, like, I was cooking her some steak last night, and I made boneless, skinless chicken thighs, like a whole batch of them. And I was, like, breaking down, like, a 10-pound tube of burger and putting them in the freezer and making her some smash burgers for lunches or today and tomorrow with some chicken thighs because she's doing carnivore right now, and I mindlessly built her bag like I normally would, and I put the burgers in, and I put the chicken in, and I reached and got her like some habanero cheese and tossed it in because she's not doing cheese for carnivore right now. And it was just a mindless thing. I'm like, and I was telling her, like, we got to bed, I was like, there's only 2 cheeses left, so 1 for each day. And she goes, we got to take that out. And I'm like, why? She was doing carnivore. And I'm like,
see,
and I'm like,
I know that there are people who don't have dairy with carnivore, but most of the carnivore people that I watch eat cheese, so and dairy. So
Jen says that cheese. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I'm pro cheese.
Oh yeah. I just don't know how like cheese is for carnivore. I mean, I know it's animal product, but I mean, I'm just trying to do like when I go into carnivore, it's going to be basically beef, eggs, chicken, maybe some bacon. But I mean, I've got a lot of bacon in the freezer, so probably should eat some of it. But she says she's making pizza dip to take to Autumn's today. We're going to play some escape room games. That sounds fun. I know we played that game with Jen at Low Carb for Better Health. We had an Airbnb, so her and Brian and myself, Mike and Dawn all hung out. We played this box game. And if Jen and Brian weren't there, we would still be playing that game trying to figure it out. Like, I am not good at that stuff. Like, we played Rummy Cube the other night. Our boys came over late at night, and we're playing Rummy Cube, and I'm sitting here trying to figure this out. And it took me, like, we don't play a time limit, because if you had the timer, it would just be, we'd play for 3 days. So I finally went out and won, but it took me way longer. And I'm like, my brain is getting soft. So I probably should play more games, but then some games like that game, if she wasn't there and Brian wasn't there, I would have thrown it in the fireplace because I was like, you had to like figure out where like campfire goes and where people's tents go. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So, and she's saying she really enjoyed the chat this morning, but 90 minutes, I'm sure you all, or at least Meitreya, has stuff to do. Thanks for a great chat. Well, Jen, enjoy your day. Tell Autumn we all say hello. I would like to have Autumn on here and talk with me one morning, but I don't know how open to that she might be. But I'm always willing to have everybody on. And Brenda Foley said beef gelatin. I need to look at that and maybe get some beef gelatin and throw that in there and see if that'll hold it together. I'm sure it would.
It'll help, especially with the texture too. Help it with being some softness.
I just need to figure out how much, and I'll play with it, and then I'll make a video if it works. And if it doesn't work, I need to make more of it doesn't work videos, because I wonder if that actually would, if people would watch those, would people watch my cooking fails? Because I've got videos up and that I've filmed, and like they didn't work while I was filming them, so I just never edited them and put them up.
Oh, edit it and do yourself like a nice bloopers.
I need to do that.
Right, actually, I'm an old lady and I need to. I've had a lot of coffee, so we should probably think about wrapping it up shortly.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's see. Cindy's doing carnivore this month. She's had cheese, and then Brenda says my kids say they are too ADHD to play games with me, and I'm looking for a local group to play games with. Yeah, I'm
Brenda,
sure that.
Send me a private message and let me know your area, and I will send you. I will find your local groups for you.
And Cindy says, Meitreya, you are not old.
My body feels old, though, so.
Yeah, and I'll look and see. She says, Britta says the ketogenic woman probably has some carnivore truffle recipes. I'll take a look and look around and see what I can come up with. But again, we'll wrap this up. And before we do, is there anything you have coming up that you want to talk about? Any plugs you want to make? Anything, any videos coming out that you're excited about?
Yeah, I'm going to do a keto panna cotta coming, and that'll be releasing real soon, a coconut panna cotta. And then, like I said, on Sunday evenings, I do my live stream. And tomorrow night, we're going to make a chicken paprikash, which is a nice Hungarian dish that we haven't really talked much about. So I like to share different cultures, get some history, all of that good stuff. So that's tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern, on the Radical Geek channel.
I'm looking forward to that because I don't even know what it is. So I will watch to see exactly what that is. I appreciate you for being here. As far as me, I have a live tomorrow morning, just me, coffee, and we'll talk a little bit more. As always, Tuesday, I have live with Shander and myself. I have other videos planned. Just keep an eye out for those. I do drop some videos for my members couple of days before they go live for other people. So if you're interested and take a look at becoming a member, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And thank you so much for Meitreya for being here. Be sure to like and share and subscribe to her channel and anybody else's channel that is in the chat today. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.